we're going to stay a little bit in more applicable to the world of engineering, arguably. And a really, really nice kit, again, that Maxine and I had quite a lot of fun with. This is called General Forces, and I'm led to believe that this and the microorganisms kit are not as popular as we might have expected them to be. And I think certainly with microorganisms it's the change from statutory to non-statutory, but hopefully I've convinced you about how important and how great microorganisms are, that you'll grab the opportunity to use that. And similarly with General Forces, there was a change in the primary curriculum, I'm guessing about 5 years ago now, where they decided to take out all the forces from Key Stage from year 2 and put them all into year 5. Arguably it was a sensible thing to do because young children were picking up so many misconceptions about the language associated with forces, but that might be the reason that not so many people are going for this kit. But again, this is great. It's a whole load of toys, essentially. I can't get the QVC image out of my head now. Okay, so we have here the modern wind turbine, basically. I don't know if this will work. Go to a window. And obviously me moving around is enough to get these things to move. But you might be able to just hold it in the passage of the window. You'd certainly take them outside with the students. It would be a great one so they could see the effect of the wind. Which direction does the wind have to hit these things to make them turn? Because they're still in really good condition and really turning really well. Surprise, surprise, if you blow on the front of them, they go faster than if you blow on the side of them. So there you go, you've got those. So what I would suggest with General Forces, if you've got about 5 or 6 tables around your class, put different items on the table and do it like a circus. And so basically the kit will go onto the table, 5 or 6 pupils investigate what's in front of them, just have fun with it. You've got essentially a whole load of toys here. You might need some slight, oh no, as long as you've got a supply of water. This is a sand wheel, but it'll work just as well with water. And think, okay, so we're pouring sand. How is this linked to forces? Well, think what the sand is doing. The sand's going through a hole, it's channeled and it's landing and it's applying a pressure. It's applying a pressure to that wheel. And the pressure is making the wheel rotate because the wheel is on a little axle there. And so that's how it links to forces. It's very simple. It's General Forces, it's an introduction to forces. If you want them to realise that a push-pull force is required to make something move or to change its shape, then here is the ideal kit. Me blowing on these, that's a force. Wind creates a force. It's great stuff. We can do, we've got something that will work in water here. So you can start to introduce floating, and they could design their own things out of plasticine or blue tack, and maybe to emulate the plastic boat that they're provided with here. So that, again, you can pull these things around. They think about, okay, what are they doing? They will play. You'll give them 10 minutes, 20 minutes just playing with these items, and then come back and start to tease the science out with them. So, well, what did you do? Well, I pulled the car and it pulled the trailer. Okay, how did you make it move? And eventually they'll get the idea, well, you applied a force through your arm. You applied a force to the toy car and you made it move. And if you push it, again, you're applying a force, it's going to move. And if you apply a force like that, didn't knock any water over, did we? No, phew. You can't, I'm not sure if you can get away with that in the classroom. In my day, board rubbers, no, absolutely no problem. A soft, spongy thing, maybe. We've also got a gyroscope here, again, link STEM ambassadors. You know, what's the real world use of gyroscopes? Why are they important? Spinning tops, and there's a magnetic wheel here. Again, this is all about playing and having fun and learning by discovery. So I flung that ball. Don't worry, I'm not going to throw these as well. But maybe that one does bounce. That one, does that bounce higher? Do they fall at the same rate? Which one bounces better? It's inquiry, it's finding out. There doesn't have to be a right or a wrong answer. A very investigative kit, this. Oh, I love these. Two things to finish on in here. Bubble mixture and bubbles. Bubbles are fascinating to kids. Why do you always get circular bubbles? Something about surface tension. Go on Google and find out. So they can be blowing bubbles, and then absolutely love this. Right, you're going to have to zoom in on this quite literally. Come on, you little. There we go. Does he go any quicker if I support the rod? What was the issue with the rod at the start? Again, you can just pose questions to them. They can be left to do something over and over again. Some child will quite happily do this 6 times over. Maybe they could work with a friend and time how long it takes for them to get down the bottom. Yeah, just a brilliant kit, I think. It's one that gets battered. I certainly know that our equivalents of these are suffering with age these days. There's also some beanies down the bottom. Again, this idea of changing shape by simply applying a force. And that's what this is all about as well. Because I'm not super strong, but I can change the shape of this because I'm applying a force to it. And by having those discussions with children, you're introducing Newton's laws and you're talking physics with them. And you wouldn't think that was possible necessarily with Year 5 children, but it most certainly is. So that's General Forces. Again, with a very extensive kit list.